All right, welcome back to Virtual School Assembly. Today our guest is Josh Elledge. Josh has worked as a journalist, a consumer expert, marketing and public relations consultant, and a successful entrepreneur. He's appeared on TV and radio more than 1,000 times, and that includes a bunch of major national market outlets. Josh has written a syndicated consumer newspaper column to over 1 million readers for 6 years. In addition to being a consumer expert, Josh coaches businesses and individuals in how to increase their influence and enhance their brand. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Hey, Tyler, thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is kind of share with you kind of my journey and how I was able to give myself a $500 a month pay raise. And it really was born out of necessity because like a lot of Americans, I had kind of an unstable income. And this is a while back, right before the last recession. And so as a result, I wanted to get very defensive with where my money was going, because in order for you to create wealth, well, you need a couple legs of the stool. And those 3 legs are, number one is you need to work hard. I mean, you need to go after and achieve what it is that you want to achieve so you can earn that money. You want to increase your revenue. And number 2, I think that you need the education on making sure that you're really smart about, you want to invest in learning how to earn more, learning how to save more. And that gets to that 3rd leg. And that's absolutely, beyond the education about the whole thing is the actual activity of being very mindful with how you are stewarding those resources. And so as I started my journey, I looked at how we were spending our money. And I looked at how much we were spending. So I did a kind of we call them budgets or a spending plan. And so I was looking at all the different areas that we were spending our money on. And I looked at that line item for groceries. And as I was filling in our spending plan, and I asked my wife, and I said, how much do we spend at the grocery store every month? Now, at the time, we had 2, 3 young kids, and I say 2, 3. I think it was 3. I couldn't remember if my youngest was in the family yet, but I believe he was. And I was thinking maybe we were spending maybe like $400 a month at the grocery store. And she goes, "Are you kidding? We spend like $800, $900 a month at the grocery store." And like if I were drinking coffee at the time, I would have spit it out. I'd be like, "What? Are you serious? $800 a month? That is a big ticket item." And that doesn't even include what we were spending eating out at restaurants. And I thought, man, there's got to be a way that I can cut that down because, and you might think there's no way I spend that much money on food. All right. And again, you probably don't if your parents are taking care of that. But if you get them if you ask them how much they spend, they probably won't even know what that number is because they've never bothered to kind of add it up. Again, particularly if you add up all the restaurant food as well. Most Americans easily spend over $1,000 a month between restaurants and grocery store every single month. And all those consumables that we buy every single month, whether it's razors and shaving cream or, gallons of milk. And, individually, this is why it's so deceptive because those individual items are not that much money. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to buy this. And well, that was only a few dollars, box of cereal, $4, no big thing. A package, toilet paper, paper towel. It's like $10 there. No big deal. Right. But how often, and watch this next time you're with like an adult who's like, buying stuff for the whole family for a week and look at the total, right? And it's generally almost always going to be more than $100 every single time you go to the grocery store. Go to a warehouse club and try and escape there for less than $200. It's almost impossible, right? And so that's how that adds up. You add up all those, you go out to eat and it's, $30, $40, $50 here and there. That, at the end of the month, add it up and you're going to see that is a big ticket item. So let me ask you a question. Like if you had been given, let's say $400 or $500 of that $800 total, and you had been given that money every single month, at the end of that 12 months, you would have how much? Well, you'd have about $6,000 that you would be holding on to in your hands. And again, imagine yourself holding a wad of cash and it's $6,000. What would you do with that $6,000? Well, it's actually not that difficult to give yourself that $6,000 pay raise at the end of the year. And again, when you're younger, you're not quite spending so much, but as you start building your household and that sort of thing, it absolutely adds up. And I should say that, there are a lot of people that eat a lot of takeout food. They eat a lot of restaurant food. Eating at the restaurant is the most expensive way to feed yourself. So please remember that. Second most expensive way to feed yourself is to go to the grocery store and buy the things that you need week to week. And you're probably thinking, what? How else would I shop? Well, it gets into a new way of shopping that you absolutely must follow. Here's a fact that you got to know, and it's bizarre that it happens this way, but it's the way that it is. There are two types of places you can go and you can buy food from. There are kind of these always low prices, or, they don't really mess with the price of food very often. And then you have a lot of stores that are high-low. They do high-low pricing. And they do that because they want to get you in the store by offering you a number of loss leaders. And when I say a loss leader, what a loss leader is that the grocery store is actually losing money on that product. And they will sell that product at a loss to get you into the store, and then you'll go through up and down the aisles, and you'll throw a bunch of stuff that they make much higher margins on, things like Hallmark greeting cards and that sort of thing, right? And everything else, right? So that's the idea, is that what you want to do is you want to understand how pricing works, and that you want to beat them at their own game. So it's kind of like going to Vegas, and they lure you in with, in the back in the day, they'd lure you in with cheap food or cheap buffets. And then of course you spend all your money at the craps table. So it's kind of like that. So what I want you to do is get really, really good at identifying the best prices, or, what are the things that you buy on a regular basis, and you only buy those things. And sometimes that means that you don't buy all your products at one store. You go to multiple stores. Now, ultimately, why do we want to do this? Because again, I want to give you that $500 a month raise, and then you can do with that money whatever you want. I would hope you would invest in yourself. You would save, you would invest, that sort of thing. But I'm going to leave that to other experts to advise you on. My job is just to reduce that, eliminate that excuse that you can't do it. And again, we might be talking smaller numbers right now. We might only be talking about $50 to $100. But again, if I can give you a $100 a month pay raise, would you accept that? Well, I thought you would. All right. So that's step number one. You have to stop buying what you need. Need-based shopping is the most expensive way to feed yourself from the grocery store. Instead, only buy the absolute best deals. Number one. Now, if you could get, great, in the Southeast here, we have a Publix, a grocery chain called Publix. You would only buy BOGOs. Buy one, get one free. That's instantly 50% off, right? Then if you want to even save more money, you'll start taking advantage of apps that have coupons that are built into it. And you really want to, the best deal you're going to get is when you match a really good sale with a really good coupon. And that's where you get the absolute lowest price. So that's step one. Number two, you should buy as much as you can afford and comfortably use before any perceived expiration dates. So if you are able to get, let's say, for example, you get Cheerios and you really like Cheerios cereal for whatever reason, and that goes on sale, buy one, get one free. Normally $4 a box, now it's $2. And through using an app or finding a coupon online, you can save another $1 per box. Now you're getting $4 boxes of Cheerios for $1. How many should you buy? Well, some people will say, oh, I'm going to buy 2. Other people would say, you know what? Within like 6 to 12 months, I can easily go through 4 boxes. I would recommend you buy 4 boxes, as many as you can comfortably go through before it goes bad. Most food doesn't go as bad as quickly as you think it does. And by the way, that's a little sidebar. Expiration dates. It's not really a date for consumers. It's a date for retailers. So one website you want to write down and check out, it's called stilltasty.com. And you'll learn about true expiration dates of food. And oftentimes it comes down to just basically you got to smell test and visually test food. It's shelf stable food in the United States lasts for a very, very long time. So that's number 2. Buy as much as you can. So if I can get you to do this, and I can get you to really take it and get good at finding all those ways of savings, that's how you cut a grocery bill in half. The only other way you can save that much money is you got to grow all your own food with a garden. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. I'm not really good at that. So what I would encourage you to do is, again, apply these principles and keep at it. And every single month, when you realize your savings, the first month is not going to be as big. But once you start getting into a position where when you go to the grocery store and you say, well, I don't really need anything anymore. Most people put on a list of things that they need. And again, most expensive way to shop. When you have everything you need in your pantry or in your fridge or your freezer, then you can go to the store, and now because you don't need anything, you could just buy all those absolute best deals. And within 2 to 3 months, you'll be in a new world and you'll be spending way less than anybody else.
Awesome. Great advice, Josh. As you spoke about all the different ways to save, I'm thinking, we're going grocery shopping tomorrow. I'm like, okay, how can I adjust? How can I make these changes? And I can certainly attest to what you're saying here. This has worked for me. We've followed your work with Savings Angel for a long time and like to apply those strategies. So it totally works. On point number 2, I have a question. So if we're buying as much as we can, most people don't have huge old pantries. What do you do with all that extra food? Where do you put it? How do you get rid of it? How do you make sure it doesn't expire? Stuff like that.
Well, again, most food doesn't expire as nearly as quickly as it does. And so I'm a big fan of, if you got to set up an extra shelf in your house somewhere in a closet, that is, even if you use a big bin under your bed or something like that, that is space that pays you rent for using it. Right. And so it's kind of like if you were to invest, the idea is you want to buy low and sell high. And so you're essentially just buying low and you're consuming, at your own leisure, at your own leisure. So, so just find the space any way you can. It's honestly, if you really start getting resourceful and looking around your room, your dorm, your apartment, wherever you're living right now, right? Again, living with mom and dad, it's not a big deal, but I want you to remember these lessons for the future, right? And just never forget that, especially as you're taking a shower and you're looking at that bottle of body wash that's sitting in there, you could either say, I paid $5 for that, or you could say, I paid 50 cents for that, right? And it's your choice. You could pay either, but I'd rather you keep the $4.50 for yourself and go do something that's really meaningful for you, like investing in yourself, or something that you really, really enjoy. But before, you never seemed to have the budget for it.
Right. Now, so a lot of kids who are thinking about, okay, well, I'll implement this in the future, but what do I do now? Kids that are living at home that don't have a lot of disposable income. I know I had a lot of bad habits when I was a high school kid. I'd buy junk food. I'd spend whatever I made, and I didn't really create a savings habit. I could find deals, and that just meant I could buy more candy. But do you have any advice for kids on how to kind of get that saver's mindset? Something you obviously have.
Well, I mean, listen, either you like your money or you don't. If you don't care for your money, then it's not really going to be a priority for you. And what I'm talking about really does not take that much extra time. It just takes, do you either want to be an expert in, life pro tips or life hacks or not? Do you want to know? Do you want to take the red pill or not? If you don't want to take the red pill and you want to just be a passive consumer, well, welcome to the 95%, because that's how most consumers are. They don't really think about this stuff. Or what they do is they'll just go to the same grocery store, buy the same products. And what they'll do is they'll look around and go, oh, per unit pricing. I know how to work this system. Guess what? That's everybody. That's what everybody does. Okay. Normal people don't use coupons. Normal people don't space out their timing and stock up on items when they get a really good deal. They just don't, because they're like, well, I don't want to buy 5 of them because I only have so much money this week. Instead, I'm only going to buy 1. And so they're constantly caught in this hamster wheel. And I'm telling you, I've been studying and leading this. I've been a syndicated newspaper columnist for 13 years. I've done over 700 TV segments on teaching consumer skills. If there were a more inexpensive way, or if there were a more efficient way to save yourself a lot of money on the consumables, the things you buy month after month after month, I would be teaching you that. Okay. Warehouse clubs are not the answer. A particular store does not, it was like, well, I only shop at Aldi. Well, Aldi's great for some things, but it's not great for everything. Warehouse clubs are good for a few things. Honestly, warehouse clubs, I'm not a big fan of. We've done the per unit pricing. A lot of that is smoke and mirrors to get you to believe that because you're buying these unusual size or unusual quantity products, you're saving money. Usually not. Buying online makes a lot of sense for some things, not everything. And in fact, for consumables, generally, if you get a great buy one, get one sale, Amazon can't even come close to matching that price. It's because of the way that the distribution is managed. And it's a lot cheaper to ship a pallet full of product per unit than it is to ship an individual product per unit to you. So you may as well take advantage of that distribution model. But at the end of the day, Tyler, most of us only end up buying maybe 100 or so products, and then we keep rebuying that 100 or so products. So what I want you to do is consider the things you buy. Just keep a note, like on a Google Doc, and just like milk. Who has the best price on milk, or what should my buy price be for milk? Well, for me, that happens to be Aldi. Or once in a while, I can actually get milk for $1 a gallon at CVS, which is weird. Like they just have these, you buy 2 gallons of milk and they give it to you for like $2 a piece. And then you get like 75 cents or $1 off at the register, in register rewards or whatever. It's extra care bucks. It's bizarre, but I will just take a second and just check it out, because it makes sense for me to run into CVS if I get savings like that, especially if I can stock up on those items.
Yep. Now, you've been at this for a long time, Josh, and I know that your site, Savings Angel, gives a lot of consumer tips, not just on food, but in all different areas, buying a car, buying appliances, buying things like that. And you've worked with a lot of people over the years. Can you share kind of a success story, someone that's taken your advice and how that's changed their life?
Yeah, I mean, we've assisted in helping millions of families get that pay raise, and not only that, but Tyler, the reason that we started Savings Angel a long time ago, it's just a free blog now. Mm-hmm. And so we started a long time ago because I believe that this is how you end hunger, lack, and need in our communities, is that, I believe that people are inherently good. And so if I can help someone relieve some of the pressure financially, then now they can in turn give to others. And so, for example, one thing you might want to do if you really want to take this to the next level is when you get more for yourself, well, it's very simple. Just buy more than you need and donate it. So what ends up happening is manufacturers and retailers are subsidizing your charitable giving. And so if you can get those toothpaste, which is a really easy one to do. You can get like a $3 tube of toothpaste for 50 cents. We'll go ahead and buy a couple of extra ones and donate it to your local shelter, or fill a church pantry or something. That's kind of where we take it and kind of to that next level.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks for your time today and the advice that you've shared with us. If people want to learn more about you or take advantage of your resources, where should they go?
Yeah. Two things. You can just go to our website, and that is savingsangel.com. Lots of savings, one angel, that's me. And you can also if you listen to podcasts, you can look up the Savings Angel Show. So for 7 years, I basically teach life hacks. I teach you how to save money on everything. So if you like keeping your money, I'm the one resource I would highly recommend you plug in with what we do. It's all free, and I'm happy to be of service.